We are here with the Tailgate Sports Podcast, episode 2. Today, we're going to go over a couple things. We're going to give our top 10 NFL QB rankings. We're going to do a Would You Rather Garrett Wilson edition. And then we're going to give our NFC East and South win predictions. Starting off, we're going to do our top 10 NFL QB rankings. At 1, I have Patrick Mahomes. I think 1 through 5, we're going to have a lot of similarities here. But Patrick Mahomes at 1. You can't really argue it. He's been phenomenal. Already has a few Super Bowls. He's just been top of the league, no question.
Yeah, there's really nothing I can say to that. I agree our top five is probably going to consist of a lot of the same guys, but yeah, Patrick Mahomes, number one, two Super Bowls in a row, going for number three. Can't really say anything else.
At 2, I have Josh Allen. He has just been up there with Patrick Mahomes, in my opinion. Like, you can't get a QB who could give you as many rushing yards and rushing touchdowns as him while also being able to sling it as well as he does. He is phenomenal, very versatile. He is one of the only quarterbacks in history with 40 plus touchdowns in 4 seasons. I got Josh Allen at 2.
Yeah, Josh Allen at two is a good choice. He had somewhere around 50 touchdowns, including in the playoffs last year. If you include his rushing touchdowns, I think he had 15 rushing touchdowns just in the regular season. So yeah, I think that's a good bet at number two.
My 3 is Joe Burrow. His field vision is phenomenal. He's one of the only people to beat Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs. He has been great. He's dealing with injuries, but I'm going to put him at 3.
Number three, yeah, I got Joe Burrow. People are forgetting a little bit how good this guy is because of all the injuries that were nagging him last year. Some people are going to knock him because of all the constant injuries that he does have, but I think that this dude is a great quarterback whenever he's healthy, and I think he's going to be healthy this year. He's got a couple good weapons still. I think he's nothing to forget about.
At 4, I have Lamar Jackson here. He has been great. His passing has progressively gotten better and better every season. 2 MVPs. I have to have him after Joe Burrow there.
Yeah, Lamar Jackson and Brock Purdy kind of are battling for this four spot for me. I personally am not a big Lamar Jackson guy, and I think that Brock Purdy is going to prove a lot of people wrong this year. So I put Brock Purdy at four, which is probably going to be very unpopular. But I personally don't believe in Lamar Jackson's MVP year last year. So
I have Brock Purdy 5, but I do think having him after Lamar is kind of crazy. Lamar just put up an MVP year, had another one MVP year. Can't forget about that. He's been absolutely phenomenal. I think that's a little bit of a hot take, but I have Brock Purdy 5. I'm also really high on Brock Purdy.
yeah,
He's
it's more of a
phenomenal.
future take. It's more of a future take than it is what they've done take. But
Yeah. I have Brock Purdy 5. And then at 6, I have Dak Prescott. He has just been great in the regular season, putting up insane numbers, but he just can't get over that hump in the playoffs. And I think that is really what hit his ranking here.
yeah, I got Dak six too. His playoff performance is really the only thing that knocks him down. He's phenomenal in the regular season. He gets around 4,000 yards a year, I believe. That's top quarterback in the league. So if he could just perform in the playoffs, he would be top five, but can't.
At 7, I have Matthew Stafford. Has a Super Bowl a couple years ago. He's been great, gunslinger. He is one of my favorite quarterbacks to watch. I have him at 7.
Yeah, Matthew Stafford's another guy I'm not too high on. I'm not gonna lie to you. I got CJ Stroud at seven. Young guy, a lot like Brock Purdy. He's not proven much yet, but I think going forward he's gonna definitely be a top 10 quarterback.
At 8, I have CJ Stroud right behind you. I just think, yeah, he had an insane year last year. It was phenomenal, but we've only had a 1 year sample size. That's why he's not higher to me, but he was great. So he's in my top 10.
Yeah, my number eight is Justin Herbert. I think a lot of people are forgetting about him too after his injured season last year, but rookie season phenomenal. Had a 5,000 yard season after that. The guy is capable of a lot, especially now with comprehensive coaching and some decent weapons to go along with him. He's never really had both at the same time. I think Justin Herbert's going to have a great year this year and probably move up a couple spots by the end of the year. But after last season, I can't really put him much higher than eight.
I have Justin Herbert at 9. I'd love to see him have a great year. I just don't really see with the weapons he has. He also has not been able to get over the hump in the playoffs. I think 9 and 10 could be swapped out with a lot of people, but Justin Herbert is a great quarterback. He's top 10 worthy. I just think if he did more in the playoffs, he would be higher.
Yeah, I have Jordan Love at 9. I think even after just one season, I think in his high points, he's shown that if he can just put those good games together, he's going to be a great quarterback. You just got to get those kinks out. He sat behind one of the best quarterbacks of all time. I'm sure he learned a lot of useful stuff. Had a little bit of a working year getting it all together, and still had at the end of the year a phenomenal run in the playoffs, to me at least. So I got Jordan Love at 9.
I have Jordan Love at 10. Like you said, he sat behind one of the best quarterbacks for a few years, learned a lot, came out last year in his first season starting and was absolutely phenomenal. Got them a playoff win. He definitely deserves a top 10 spot. There's a few other guys I'd love to put here, but Jordan Love was phenomenal last year.
Yeah, my number 10, like you said, could be interchanged with probably five different guys, but I had to put Aaron Rodgers there. I know he didn't play last season. I know his last season in Green Bay might not have been the best, but we're talking about one of the best quarterbacks that we've ever seen throwing the football. Coming off an Achilles, I probably might have too much faith in him, but I got him at number 10.
I wanted to put Aaron in there, but I just thought a few other guys deserved a little more. Like Matthew Stafford, he's also getting a little older, but he's been phenomenal. I think all these guys in the top 10 deserve it. Like you said, a couple guys could be swapped out. Next, we're going to do a Would You Rather Garrett Wilson edition. First name I have up is Chris Olave.
Chris Olave. This one's a little tough because they have similar stats. They've been in the league for both 2 years, I believe. Both dealing with semi-great quarterback play, to say the least. Garrett Wilson having one of the worst quarterbacks in the league for 2 years straight. I got Garrett Wilson slightly in front of him. I'm a Garrett Wilson guy. I like him, so I'd rather have Garrett Wilson than Chris Olave.
I would take Garrett Wilson as well. I think, they did have similar stats, but Garrett Wilson had much worse quarterback play and has been phenomenal. I'm going to go Garrett Wilson. Next up, I got DeAndre Hopkins.
DeAndre Hopkins. If I think I would rather have DeAndre Hopkins. It's hard for me because Garrett Wilson's a lot younger. So going forward, like to give a large contract to, I'd probably rather take Garrett Wilson. But for a 1 year going to get it, it's hard for me to say I'd rather have anybody over DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah, D Hop is phenomenal. Some of the best hands we see in the NFL. I just think he's getting a little older, and Garrett Wilson's upside is absolutely phenomenal. I think Garrett Wilson, with the good quarterback in Aaron Rodgers, is going to have an amazing year. Next up, we got Jalen Waddle, similar players.
Yeah, no, I would definitely rather have Jalen Waddle. I'm a big speed guy. I think if you have speed, that's everything. Garrett Wilson's a great route runner. He is a quick guy. He's got great hands, but Jalen Waddle is one of the fastest guys in the league. And across from Tyreek Hill, I got to factor that in. He's not even the first guy you got to worry about on the team. So I'll take Jalen Waddle over him.
Jalen Waddle's great, don't get me wrong. He is putting up great numbers as a number 2 option, but Garrett Wilson is dealing with absolute poverty quarterback play and has been great. I think once he gets this good quarterback, people are going to see how good he is. I'm going to go Garrett Wilson. Next name up, we got Deebo Samuel.
Deebo Samuel, I'm not a big fan of the running back wide receiver combo deal that he likes to play. I think that it's going to get him hurt sooner than later. I like my wide receivers to play wide receiver. I think it's cool. I love watching it, but like I personally wouldn't want it on my team. So I'd rather have Garrett Wilson, a solid number one wide receiver.
See, I love the versatility from Deebo Samuel. He had 5 rushing touchdowns last year. He has put up great numbers. He really gets the defense questioning it I would take Deebo Samuel over Garrett Wilson here. Last name up, we got Cooper Kupp. Coming off of a lot of injuries, he has been phenomenal in the past. What what do you got?
See, after having so close to even closer, I think, than Tyreek to 2,000 yards a couple of years ago, he has been dealing with a lot of injuries. Uh, I think I would still probably rather have Cooper Kupp at this point, assuming he comes back healthy and has a good year this year. I'd rather have Cooper, but it's scary because Garrett Wilson's been healthy for 2 years in a row. I think I'd still rather take Cooper though.
Cooper Kupp had one of the best wide receiver years we've ever seen in our whole entire life. Won a Super Bowl MVP. He was phenomenal. I know he has injuries, but he's one of those receivers I think could come back from those injuries and his play style will still work out and he's going to be great. I would take Cooper Kupp here. Next, we're going to do our NFC South win predictions. Starting off with the Saints, they're listed at 7.5.
I got the Saints going under. I was looking at their schedule. I got them winning probably around 6 games. They're not going to go under by a ton, I don't think, but I don't like their quarterback play. I don't believe in a lot of the stuff they got over there. I'd probably take the under.
I'm also going to go under here. I don't like Derek Carr that much. I don't think they made any really game-changing moves this offseason. I'm going to go under. Next, we got Falcons at 9.5.
I think that's a pretty easy over. I was going over their schedule also earlier. 11-6 is what I came up with. So even if they lose a game or two that they're not supposed to lose, they could probably still win that, go over that 9.5.
Yeah, I think the Kirk pickup was phenomenal. I think this team is a really good team offensively, and they have some good defensive pieces with a good quarterback. I think they're going to hammer this over. Next, we got Bucks at 7.5.
Bucks at 7.5. That's another one that if they just win the games that they should win, they'll probably be around, in my opinion, 9-10 wins this year. So I would definitely take that over.
This is my favorite over of all the teams we've went over. I think they're going to absolutely hammer this. Baker Mayfield's going to have another great year, and people are going to be saying, okay, I think this guy is a real number one.
Yeah, I think he's going to have a breakout year also. I think he's growing up a little bit. I think he had a great end of the year last year. I think he's going to have a good season.
Last team up, we got the Panthers at 5.5.
It's pretty sad when you're at 5.5 and I'm confidently taking your under, but I don't see the Panthers doing much this year. I got them going under.
I'm also going to go under here. I think that Bryce Young, he is going to improve a little bit from last year, but there are some great teams. I think they're going to go under here. Next, we're going to do NFC East win predictions. First team up, we got the Cowboys at 10.5.
Cowboys at 10.5. They're a great regular season team. They're probably going to go over. I know they have a lot of drama going on this year. I don't know really what's going to happen, but if they keep this roster that they have right now all season and they all play like they should, they're going to go over 10.5 wins again.
I also think they're going to go over here. They're a great regular season team. Don't see them doing much in the playoffs again, but I'm going to take their over. Then we got Eagles at 10.5.
Eagles. I can't stand the Eagles. Got them going under. Probably winning about 9 games this year. I don't like the Saquon pickup. I think, not to be pessimistic, but I don't believe that team's going to stay healthy, and I feel like they're not very mentally tough and put together. So till the Eagles prove something to me, I got them going under. I don't really like what they got going on.
I think the moves they made in the offseason were absolutely phenomenal. Picking up Saquon with one of the best O-lines, he's going to do great. And last year, they were one of the worst teams in coverage. They went out, drafted a great cornerback in Cooper DeJean. They picked up Garner Johnson again. I think they're going to be great. I'm taking the over. Next team up, we got the Giants at 6.5.
Yeah, I'm definitely taking the under. I don't like a single thing about the Giants. I can't believe they gave Daniel Jones that contract. And yeah, I don't see him winning many games this year, aside from maybe against Washington or Seattle.
I also have the Giants going under. I just don't think they really made any crazy moves for me. Their defense is okay. I think it's going to be around 6-7 wins, but I'm gonna take the under. The last team we got is the Commanders at 6.5.
Commanders at 6.5. This one, honestly, I wouldn't touch unless I had to. But if I had to pick one, I'd probably take the over. Barely though. I have them winning 7 games, 8 games at best. So that's a tricky one. But I like a lot of what they're doing over there. I'd probably take the over.
I'm gonna take the over too. I think Jaden Daniels is going to be really good. I think he's going to have a CJ Stroud-esque season, as in like no one really expected him to be as good as he is being the number 2, and he wasn't the number 1. I think he's going to surprise a lot of people. I'm not saying they're going to be a playoff team. I just think they're going to be better than people think. So I would take the over. That's all we got for this episode. Tune in next week for another episode.